Now, I don't want you to get a big head, but I do want you to be proud of yourselves as viewers of this channel, along with some major industry groups and a number of individuals. You've made a real difference. We did a video a little while ago about the reinterpretation of the term in person as it comes to aircraft maintenance from the FAA's perspective. A memorandum was issued that suggested in person meant that the trainer had to be standing right with the apprentice through the entire operation, ready to take over. Now, that's not the way we've done training of aircraft maintenance personnel for decades. So, this was a big change. Fortunately, the FAA has put a stay on that. A stay doesn't mean they've reversed themselves. A stay means maybe we made a mistake. Let's take another look at this and see what the best answer is. It might be worth stepping back for a moment and realizing when the FAA institutes a new regulation, they issue a thing called an NPRM, a Notice of Proposed Rulemaking. Basically, the FAA comes out and says, hey, this is what we're thinking. What do you think about that? And the general public, pilots, maintenance workers, dispatchers, people who own businesses, just individual pilots, all of them have the opportunity to, in writing, online, let the FAA know what they think of this rule. Is it a good one? Is it a bad one? Is it going to create a new problem that wasn't foreseen? And the FAA really does take all that into account as they get to the final rulemaking process. That's a little different than when we do an interpretation of what the existing regulations mean, and that's what happened here. A lawyer, and a very well-intentioned lawyer, looked at the regulations for how aircraft maintenance is supposed to work, and specifically the training of maintenance technicians, and they made a determination of what in-person meant. Now, the glitch in this very well may be, and I don't know this is true, but I'm guessing it is, that lawyer has probably never turned a wrench or driven a rivet in a maintenance hangar for an aviation operation. That being the case, they read the rules literally and not in the sense of how does this really work? And that's why there was major pushback, and there was major pushback. The video we did on that topic has gotten more than 30,000 views in just a week or so. It really does make an impression on the feds when they see that kind of traffic and the comments that are coming out. And it wasn't just us. There are other organizations, a number of organizations, well-respected organizations that really do carry some weight, who are made up of people just like you and me. That led the FAA to making the determination that they need to put on the brakes for a minute, reevaluate this, and for the time being, we go back to the old way, where an A&P or an IA who's supervising apprentices, people in training to be mechanics, they can work with multiple people at the same time in the same hangar, but they don't have to be standing right next to them. That was a really big change, and that was something that the industry just didn't like. Fortunately, the FAA's Assistant Chief Counsel of Regulations, a woman by the name of, and let me get this correct, Laura Megan Posh, I hope I pronounced that correctly, she's the one who communicated that the FAA has put this stay on, and she did it in a fairly big way. She talked to, and let me read this to get it right, the Aeronautical Repair Station Association, good group, a big group of important folks, General Aviation Manufacturers Association, and Savvy Aviation, all of whom had joined together with other groups and other individuals to say, hey, this reinterpretation is a real problem. This is not what we've done in the past. This is going to seriously hinder our opportunities and ability to train new aviation technicians at the exact time we desperately need more aviation technicians. Thank goodness the FAA has stepped back. But the great news is the FAA does listen. If we stand up and speak plainly and say, this is what we think, this is why we think that, and this is what we think the solution might be. It's easy to get mad at the feds, but there's really no reason to. There was no malice in this reinterpretation, and there was certainly some goodwill in the FAA's decision to say, hey, we got a lot of pushback on this. Maybe that pushback is justified. Let's put on the brakes and see what we can do to define that in a way that's actually practical for the real world. I got to take off my hat to the FAA for taking that step back. That's a big move, and I do appreciate the fact that they are willing to admit when they may, and I stress may, have made an error. I also want to thank you, the viewers of MadPropsAero, because you're part of the force that stood up and in a very real way made comments, talked to each other, chatted. I've seen emails and texts going back and forth about this. People stood up and spoke their mind. Take a bow. Don't let your head get too big, but take a bow. You did great work. I very much appreciate it. And when a final reinterpretation of this comes back down, we'll let you know. But for the moment, you can go back to training mechanics the way we've always trained mechanics, professionally, with oversight and care, and with A&Ps and IAs taking responsibility for the work their apprentices do, as they should. Please click like on this video, comment down below, and let us know what you think, because we did have a few viewers who took issue with this and said that's not what the memo said, but it is. Please do me a favor, click like on this video, comment down below, let us know what you think, whether you're for the change or against the change, you like the stay, you don't like the stay. Let us know what you're thinking, because that's the community we're trying to build. And of course, subscribe to the channel, because the more often you're here, the more often we're here, the more information gets exchanged, the better time we all have. I'll see you next time, right back here on the MadPropsAero channel.